Hi friends, this is Marina Shepelsky, immigration attorney in the United States with 20 years experience, and you are on our YouTube channel. We invite you to subscribe and watch more videos like this, but today's video is to explain the proposal which is actually going to become law pretty soon by the Department of Homeland Security and Department of Justice to overhaul, update our asylum system. And President Biden and his staff have announced that they are overhauling, changing our asylum system specifically for people asking for asylum at the border. People who are subject to what's called expedited removal proceedings, meaning people who come to the borders usually and ask for asylum there. This is not necessarily changing everyone else, but specifically people asking for asylum at the border. Why? Because many of you know we're having a border crisis with people from Latin America asking for asylum. Now we have people from Ukraine added to there. Lots of people have no choice but just to show up, literally walk up to the American borders in Mexico and Canada, or sometimes even in the airport, and say, I need asylum. I wish to be a refugee. I want asylum. I don't feel safe. I cannot return to my country. Please help me. As of right now, the procedure in place is the CBP officer, so that's like the officer of the border patrol people have to make the initial decision if the person is believable. And that's called the credible fear. If the person can show that they have credible fear of returning to their country and being persecuted there and tortured there. So the standard for that is called credible fear standard, and sometimes those are called credible fear interviews. And those up until today were done by CBP ICE officers. Now they are going to change this procedure and they're going to allow asylum officers to question these people. They will allow asylum officers to make decisions about asylum, withholding of removal, and convention against torture. Those are the three kinds of asylum related things you can ask for when you file for asylum. So they will now ask asylum officers to be the decision makers and make those decisions, just like right now people who are just sending out their applications are doing. Okay, so this is for people on the border only, and they're going to have asylum officers be the decision makers for this, and they will offer people the relief of asylum, withholding of removal, or protection under Convention Against Torture as appropriate, as the person who's asking deserves. If they're denied, then the person will be able to renew their request directly to an immigration judge. It's called de novo, meaning like from scratch. They can file and speak to the immigration judge. The reason that they're doing this is to relieve immigration courts from being the ones who are reviewing this as like the first level, and they're hoping that the asylum officers, and there's a lot more asylum officers than judges, they will be taking care of all these claims, and they will take the pressure off the courts that are overwhelmed. As of right now, there's about 670,000 asylum cases pending in immigration court. So hopefully this will bring a lot of cases, not up to the court, but first to the asylum officers, and only then, if there's a denial to the court, hopefully the asylum officers will be a lot more lenient, a lot more, they'll have more time, they're better trained to do asylum interviews than the CBP patrol, the border patrol people. So hopefully this will work, and it's not clear yet when this is going to come into effect. But they're saying that through this new rule, Department of Homeland Security will help reduce the asylum case wait lines and backlogs by 40%, and they will reduce the total 1.7 million case backlog. Many immigration attorneys and immigration advocates are raising concerns. We are worried about rushing this now. So maybe this is going to be even more rushed than it is right now. We don't know what this is going to look like, and denying people what's called due process, like when you don't give them the right to have a real hearing, and that's called due process, and you're rushing them through this. But we will see how this works. It's very difficult right now to see how this is going to work. I'm not sure that this is really a great idea, to be honest with you. And I'm still like thinking, how is this all going to work in reality? You know, it looks good on paper when you're reading it in a publication, in a newspaper articles. Everyone wrote about this, from New York Times to LA Times to Washington Post. But before this, the people who asked for asylum at the border often failed this credible fear interview, and then they joined the lines to see an immigration judge and officially apply for asylum. That is how it is today and before today, right? But under the new plan, the immigrants who are asking for asylum will, instead of the judge, go to an asylum officer. So it's like adding a middleman to this process. And that process is considered more friendly, less confrontational, more relaxed than seeing a judge, having a prosecutor, a trial attorney, like cross-examining you, putting more pressure on you. But the number of people asking for asylum at the border is growing. So I don't know how this is going to work, if they're going to release the people who made the credible fear claim as they're releasing them now. We'll see what happens, okay? But for now, I just wanted to tell you guys that there's going to be a change in the asylum system for people asking for asylum at the border. For people who came in with visas and file for asylum the usual way, as of right now, they're not saying any changes will happen. So we'll stick around and see what happens. And as things develop, I will tell you what's happening in our practice as I start to see this actually working in life and not just on paper as a plan. Stay tuned for more videos like this. Please subscribe to our channel. Find me on TikTok, and you can also find our pages on Facebook. Bye-bye.